Assalamu alaikum, listeners, and welcome to Chilling Whispers, True Horror Tales. I'm your host, bringing you stories that claw at the edges of reality. Tonight, we begin with a tale from a small village in Pakistan where a minaret's call to prayer hid a terrifying secret. This is the whisper in the minaret. Light your lanterns, hold your tasbih tight, and listen closely, but beware what answers back. In the village of Noorpur, tucked deep in Punjab's golden fields, the old Masjid-e-Iman stood as a beacon of faith. Its minaret, a crumbling tower of baked clay and ancient stone, loomed over the village like a silent guardian. For generations, its call to prayer had woven through the lives of the faithful, marking dawn and dusk with the muezzin's soulful adhan. But in the sweltering summer of 2010, something sinister stirred within that sacred sound. Something that would test the village's faith and haunt its people for years to come. Bilal, a young shopkeeper's son of 20, was known for his quiet piety. He never missed a prayer, always lingering in the mosque's courtyard after Maghrib to recite Ayat-ul-Kursi, his lips moving softly as the evening breeze carried the scent of jasmine. One humid night, as the adhan's final notes faded, a whisper slithered through the air, sharp and cold, like a blade grazing his ear. Bilal. It hissed, unnatural and guttural, as if born from the minaret's shadowed spiral. He froze, his tasbih beads clicking in his trembling hand. The courtyard was empty, the village silent, yet the whisper lingered, curling around his name like a predator. At first, Bilal dismissed it as exhaustion. The shop kept him busy, and the summer heat was relentless. But the whisper returned the next night, louder, more insistent, weaving through the adhan like a thread of darkness. Bilal, come to me, it called, pulling at his mind. He scanned the minaret, its silhouette stark against the twilight, but saw nothing, only the faint flicker of a lantern at its base. Fear gnawed at him, and he hurried home, clutching his Quran, reciting Surah Al-Baqarah under his breath to shield himself from the unseen. His mother, Aisha, noticed his pale face and trembling hands. "What troubles you, my son?" she asked, her eyes sharp with maternal instinct. Bilal hesitated, then recounted the whispers the way they seemed to know him, to want him. Aisha's face tightened. She had heard tales of jinn, restless spirits that haunted old places, drawn to the living by envy or malice. "This is no ordinary wind," she said, pressing a worn copy of the Quran into his hands. "Recite Surah An-Nas and Al-Falaq every night and keep your tasbih close. The words of Allah are your armor." Bilal obeyed, reciting the protective surahs before sleep, his tasbih a lifeline as he counted dhikr. But the whispers grew bolder, seeping into his home. Shadows moved in the corners of his room, formless yet heavy, like a presence watching from the dark. One night, he woke with a start, his heart pounding. His tasbih lay shattered on the floor, its beads scattered like fallen stars. A cold breath grazed his neck, and the whisper returned, now a venomous hiss. "You cannot hide, Bilal." He stumbled to his feet, reciting Ayat-ul-Kursi aloud, his voice shaking but resolute. The air grew heavy, then still, but the dread clung to him like damp cloth. Desperate, Bilal sought Maulana Saeed, the village imam, a man revered for his knowledge of Ruqyah and his unyielding faith. The imam's home was modest, its walls lined with books of tafsir and hadith. Bilal poured out his story, his voice breaking as he described the whispers, the shadows, the broken tasbih. Maulana Saeed listened, stroking his gray beard, his eyes narrowing. "This is no ordinary jinn," he said gravely. "The minaret is ancient, built on land where forgotten graves lie, graves of those who turned from Allah's path. Something unholy has woken, drawn to your faith, Bilal, to test it." The imam explained that the minaret, erected centuries ago, stood on a site rumored to house an old shrine, one abandoned long before Islam reached Noorpur. The villagers had built the mosque to sanctify the land, but some believed the earth still held secrets, curses etched in stone, bindings that had weakened with time. "We must confront this evil," Maulana Saeed said. "Gather the villagers. Faith in unity is stronger than any darkness." Word spread and fear gripped Noorpur. Families whispered of strange signs, goats refusing to graze near the mosque, children waking with nightmares of a shadowed figure in the minaret. An old woman, Bibi Zainab, claimed she'd seen a flicker of red eyes at the minaret's peak during far prayer. The village elders, skeptical but uneasy, agreed to join the imam's plan. Bilal, though terrified, felt a spark of resolve. He would not let this evil claim his home. The next night, under a moonless sky, the villagers gathered in the mosque's courtyard, their lanterns casting trembling light. Men, women, and children stood shoulder to shoulder, clutching Qurans and tasbihs, their faces a mix of fear and determination. Maulana Saeed stood before them, his voice steady as he led the recitation of Surah Al-Baqarah, the longest surah, known to drive away evil. The villagers' voices rose, a chorus of faith echoing through the night, drowning out the whispers that tried to pierce through. Bilal joined in, his heart pounding but anchored by the words, Allah. There is no God but He, the living, the everlasting. Maulana Saeed moved to the minaret's base, a clay vessel of water in his hands, blessed with dua and verses of protection. He sprinkled it over the stone, chanting, Audu Billahi min ash-shaytan ayar rajim, his voice a thunder of conviction. The air grew thick, the temperature plummeting despite the summer heat. A low, guttural hiss rose from the minaret like a beast cornered. Some villagers faltered, but the imam urged them on, his eyes blazing. Do not stop. Allah is with us. Bilal clutched his Quran, reciting louder, his voice merging with the collective strength. As the final verses of Al-Baqarah rang out, the hiss faded, replaced by an eerie silence. The air lightened, as if a weight had lifted. Maulana Saeed raised his hands in dua, thanking Allah for his protection. But he warned evil is cunning. It retreats but does not vanish. Guard your prayers, your faith, your hearts. The next morning, the villagers climbed the minaret's spiral stairs, a task few had dared in years. At its base, they found strange carvings, twisted symbols, not Arabic, etched deep into the stone. Under the imam's touch, blessed with holy water, the carvings crumbled to dust as if burned by light. Bilal never heard the whisper again, but its chill lingered in his dreams. The minaret stood quiet, its adhan pure once more. Yet the villagers changed. They prayed with renewed fervor, taught their children the protective surahs, and never let the mosque's lanterns dim. Bibi Zainab, now frail, swore she saw the red eyes one last time, retreating into the dawn. Was it a jinn, a spirit bound to forgotten sins, or something older, born of the land's buried secrets? Noorpur's people did not dwell on the answer. They knew only that faith had held the dark at bay. Years later, Bilal, now a father, taught his daughter to recite Ayat-ul-Kursi each night. He told her of the minaret, of the whisper that tested Noorpur. The world holds shadows, he said, but Allah's light is stronger. The minaret still stands, its call to prayer a reminder. In the face of evil, faith is the shield, and unity the sword. Was it a jinn, a restless spirit, or something older, stirred by forgotten sins? Noorpur's minaret stands quiet now, but the villagers still recite their protective surahs, knowing the dark listens. What's your story, listeners? Have you faced a whisper in the night? Share it with us at Chilling Whispers. Until next time, keep your faith strong and your heart brave. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Assalamu alaikum.